All right, we welcome those of you joining us after Ole Miss hangs on and beats Florida down in Oxford, Mississippi. Dave Fleming, Brock Osweiler, Stormy Buonantony tonight in Provo, Utah in the Big 12. It's TCU and BYU. BYU had the ball first, went down the field, kicked a field goal. Their defense just forced to stop. So they have a 3-0 lead and are getting the ball back with 8:15 to go here in the first quarter. Dave, Brock, great to have you with us tonight. Look, that game in Oxford, I think, instructive as far as this one goes, coming into it at least tonight, Brock, because you look at the rankings, you look at the records, you think, oh, BYU, they got this one. But you and I don't believe that. TCU is a good team that hasn't had a lot of great luck this year.
TCU's a really good football team, and if you go back and you look through their season, they gave up a 17-point lead on the road to Arizona State. Very winnable game for the Horned Frogs, and then just last week, they had an 11-point lead late in the fourth quarter against Iowa State, kind of blew it away. And here they are at 6-3, but this is a very talented, quality football team coming on the road tonight.
And meanwhile, BYU, Bear Bachmeier rolling out and delivers a perfect throw along the sideline to JoJo Phillips. So the Cougars pinned deep in their own territory, get some breathing room.
I really like how offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick is getting his true freshman quarterback into a rhythm tonight. You've seen it. That's either the third or fourth movement outside the pocket, getting the quarterback on the run. That is where Bear is most comfortable, and he's delivering the football right now with great accuracy.
He made a great pass on their first drive into the end zone that was just out and out dropped that would have been a touchdown. BYU had to settle for 3. So he's looking sharp here in this first quarter. Bachmeier back to pass again. Now he's going to scramble. He's got a lot of room in front, and he'll dive forward. The ball popped out, but he was down on the turf. That's BYU first down across the 35, 13 more yards.
Well, not only can Bear Bachmeier beat you with his arm, but you see what he can do with his legs. It was great talking with Kalani Sitake and the rest of the staff yesterday. They said, when we recruited this kid, we knew he was a very capable runner, but we actually loved him because of his arm talent and how accurate of a passer he is. And he's really kind of put all of that on display early on in this football game tonight.
And if you watched BYU last week, you know the big game. Game day was there in Lubbock. Huge game in the Big 12. Biggest game in this conference probably in a couple of years in the regular season. And BYU in a lot of ways got dominated in that game by Texas Tech. Tonight is an important game. They're still 8-1. They're 12th in those playoff rankings. BYU has a lot to play for. They will call a timeout, though, before a snap on 1st and 10. So Sitake's team looking sharp, looking focused at the start of this one. We'll take the timeout with the Cougars and be back to Provo right after this.
You're watching Peloton Statement Saturday.
And welcome to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Downey Unstoppables. And indeed it is Peloton Statement Saturday. Lots of teams around college football have made bold statements today. Bear Bachmeier and BYU trying to make a bounce back kind of statement after what happened last week in Lubbock. First down run for Bachmeier, gain of about 5. Let's go down on the field for the first time tonight and say hi to Stormy.
Well, Dave, coming out of that loss for BYU, there were a lot of emotions. Players were frustrated, angry, embarrassed. Chase Roberts even told me he was sick to his stomach on the flight home. But talking to a lot of coaches and players, there was one guy who took the loss harder than anybody else, and it was Bear Bachmeier. And when we talked to Kalani Sitake this week, he said he was in a different zone this week at practice. That he had a different look in his eye. He's taken his intensity and focus to another level and is hoping it would pay off today.
Seems like so far, Brock, that it is. Nice pass again there, and the tackle good enough. 7 yards for another BYU first down.
Yeah, it certainly is, Flem. If there was any question how Bachmeier would bounce back after the performance on the road at Texas Tech a week ago, it's fantastic right now. And I think you really just have to credit his poise, his demeanor, and the leadership that he's displayed this week. I'm so glad Stormy said that, but even when we met with him yesterday, you could tell there was just a little different look in his eye. He was a little edgy and excited to get back out here tonight.
Play fake on first down, and now a throw out on the right flat. Martin makes the first tackler miss. Nice move by L.J. Martin, who's sort of known more for his power running, but that was a nifty move. Instead of a gain of 1 or 2, he got 12.
Certainly known as a downhill thumper, but L.J. Martin can make you miss. Don't get it twisted. At 6'2", 220 pounds. He is certainly one of the best running backs in the Big 12, if not the entire country. He can run between the tackles. He has soft hands, as you saw in that last play, and he'll make you miss out in the open field and get extra yards.
He's feeling a little healthier. He's been banged up again this year. And I think BYU feels like maybe he can take on a bigger load tonight than he has in the last few weeks. He'll get the carry left side. Martin trying to get around the corner, stiff arm, and got dragged down finally. But he gets 8 yards on first down. LJ Martin, 74% of his team's snaps, third highest in the FBS. So when they say a bigger load, he's already taken on a pretty big load.
I mean, certainly the bell cow of this offense. I mean, the weight of this offense is on his shoulders. Already this season, 5 games of 100+ yards. He leads the Big 12 with 91 rushing yards per game. I'll tell you what, he's a fantastic running back.
In a little pistol formation, gets the carry and gets a BYU first down. And you've already made the point tonight, when you have Bachmeier and his running ability in the backfield along with Martin, when you're a defense trying to stop the run, that's difficult.
I mean, it's a two-headed monster. Bachmeier at 230 pounds. LJ Martin, as you see him go to the sideline, he's 6'2", 220 pounds. I mean, you have to make some serious business decisions when you are trying to bring these guys down between the tackle box. On the flip side, there's 2 fantastic linebackers in Namdi Obiazor and Caleb Elarm-Zor, and we've yet to call their names tonight. I think you need to credit this BYU front.
Little pitch fake, and then he gives it to Kingston coming across the formation. I think that'll count as actually a forward pass. And a gain of 9. Little misdirection kind of play to Kingston.
Aaron Roderick doing such a good job right now. You can tell this TCU defense, they're really guessing. They don't know what play call is coming next. You've seen the pocket move for the quarterback. There's Aaron Roderick right there working on the next play. You've seen screen game. You've seen perimeter runs, inside the tackles runs. He has the Horned Frogs guessing right now. Andy Avalos has to do something to get this BYU offense off track.
It's a TCU defense that's been playing really well, but on their heels in this first quarter, no doubt about that. Bachmeier keeps it. Bachmeier just running over defenders. First down and much more for BYU. 8 more yards on the ground.
Well, what's going to give? You have a BYU offense coming into the game that rushes for 200 yards a game, and then you have a TCU defense that is much improved from a season ago under Andy Avalos and his defensive leadership, holding teams to 124 yards on the ground. Right now, BYU is winning that matchup. Avalos is going to have to find a way to slow down this BYU rushing attack.
This is BYU's second drive of the game. They already have 8 first downs in this first quarter. Kingston gets it again. He's going to turn the corner. Kingston, touchdown, BYU. He got a block from the tight end, Carson Ryan, and as soon as he got around that corner, his speed against the defense, and Parker Kingston won.
Just 2 fantastic blocks on the perimeter. You're going to see tight end Carson Ryan, and then it's the running back LJ Martin as Parker Kingston takes his ball out to the perimeter. Watch how the tight end number 20 lays a perfect block. Without that block, Kingston isn't able to take it to the house. And if you were wondering how BYU was going to respond from that first loss of the year a week ago, I think you have your answer here. They are hitting on all cylinders tonight in Provo.
Indeed. A really impressive drive. They never had a third down on that drive. They went 91 yards and the first touchdown of the game. 10-1 overall, only 1 conference game remaining. But Cincinnati loses their second conference loss. BYU is one of 2 teams, along with Texas Tech, with just the 1 conference loss. They control their own destiny.
And you know BYU had their eyes on that Cincinnati game today, because that's who they go on the road and play next week. So big time for if you're a Cougars fan. But you're right, that's the beauty. If you're a BYU fan, you control your own destiny to get to Arlington and play for a Big 12 title.
They want a rematch. They do. Timeout here in Provo. TCU's offense coming back on the field. Indeed, Matt. I mean, really impressive. Utah's hot.
I tell you what, they are a freight train running downhill right now that no football team in America wants to see. They're playing really good football.
They have a path. Even if BYU were to win out and get back to the title game and face Texas Tech for a second time, Utah, if they're this impressive and and win out. The Utes would have an argument if they get a little help maybe in the SEC or the Big Ten with some losses. I don't think it's unrealistic to think that Utah has a path to get to the playoff. Those were percentages just to get to the Big 12 championship game. I don't think Utah is 100% dependent on that, as Hoover misses on 2nd and 4. Dangerous pass there. And it's 3rd down.
Yeah, that's right, Flem. And BYU wins out. Tech wins out. Obviously, they're going to play for the Big 12 title. But for Utah, they're looking at the SEC right now. What does a Vanderbilt do? You know, what does a Texas do when they play Texas A&M in a couple weeks? What does an Oklahoma do that just got a huge win today? There is a path for the Utes, but they need some help to get there.
Meanwhile, TCU, they could use a first down here. Their defense has been run over in the first quarter. Hoover is going to try to scramble, and the BYU defense was there. He got tackled at the line of scrimmage. Akana got him down to the turf, and it's 4th down.
Well, I like the play call because you get an empty box, but watch Akana how he loops inside on the quarterback draw and makes a fantastic tackle. You're going to see the box empty, but Akana, the way he loops around, makes an excellent play for BYU to get off the field. And we just said it. This is a BYU team. Everybody was wondering how they would respond from their loss a week ago. They are hitting on all cylinders right now.
Man, heck of a response so far. Long way to go. Final minute of the first quarter. And a fair catch. And then Kingston gets popped. And the TCU player saying he got blocked into Kingston. The fans here don't like it. A 45-yard punt with no return. I guess the officials agree. I mean, he got hit hard.
Yeah, that's one where the defender just needs to pull up. It's unnecessary. You can tell there's a fair catch.
I'm only assuming the officials thought that the TCU player got blocked into Kingston.
I don't know why the flag wasn't thrown there. There really wasn't a forcible block.
It sure didn't look like it, but
they got away with one there.
Cade McFadden was the guy who had the contact. So BYU's offense, 2 impressive drives already. Gets it for the 3rd time in this first quarter. 19 plays, 9 first downs, 136 total yards. Handoff and a big hole left side. More power running for BYU. They are going downhill against the Horned Frogs, a gain of 9.
Boy, that BYU offensive line really controlling the front 7 right now for TCU. You see the Horned Frogs, they're just on their heels. It's like they're on ice skates. This is a front 5 for BYU right now, really in control of this football game.
We asked TCU, so what do you think of the BYU front? And they said big, large,
physical.
Yeah, a bunch of big dudes up front. 2nd down and a yard. Maybe the final play of the first quarter. Martin, another carry. LJ Martin's going to get the first down and still going with some help from his big friends. All the way across the 40 out to the 42. From a gain of about 3 to a gain of 8.
Cougars are making a statement tonight. You get the sense they felt a little embarrassed for their performance a week ago on national television in front of the whole country against Texas Tech. But they're certainly making up for it tonight here in the first quarter.
I think their head coach is very happy with the way his group has played in the first quarter. Bear Bachmeier and BYU with a 10-0 lead with the ball on the move again at the end of quarter number 1.
Every day a day to train for it. We on a whole nother level. Bigger than ever we been.
Back here at LaVell Edwards Stadium with TCU head coach Sonny Dykes. I know you have a lot of confidence in your defense, particularly against the run. What's been the challenge there so far?
Yeah, they're doing a good job blocking us right now. We just gotta get some penetration in the backfield, do a better job getting off blocks and get them on the ground.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Stormy. Thanks to Sonny Dykes. You saw that little number under the font there for the TCU head coach. 5 of 7 conference games without a point in the first quarter. They have not been a quick starting offense, and tonight the problem for TCU, Brock, in a lot of ways is, okay, the offense didn't do much in the first quarter, and their defense is just getting bullied.
No, it's because BYU is putting on a clinic right now for how to run the football. You just heard Sonny Dykes say we need to get off of blocks, and we really haven't seen anybody for TCU do that, whether it's someone in the defensive front, one of the 2 great linebackers, even a safety. Right now, BYU and that front 5 and that offensive line, they are completely controlling this football game.
I mean, the time of possession a quarter in is like 12 minutes to 3 minutes. close to that. Bear Bachmeier, the big running quarterback, bullies his way into TCU territory inside the 45, down to the 44.
I mean, you can just drive a Mack truck right now through the holes that this offensive line is making. TCU, they're going to have to do something, some stunts, some twists, add an extra lineman in there, because right now what they're doing, it's not working.
I mean, look at that. Last week, they ran 9 plays in Texas Tech territory for the whole game. They've already run 9 in TCU territory tonight, and we're in the first minute of the second quarter.
Polar opposite start for BYU from last week. This is exactly how they want to play the game. All 3 phases, complementary football. And you just mentioned the time of possession right now. BYU really controlling this game.
That's a completion. Another broken tackle. LJ Martin just not going down easy inside the 30 to the 27, 18 yards to the running back.
The second missed tackle we've seen on LJ Martin now in the open field. Just a basic little flat route, and you can see the safety is there to make the play. Just completely whiffs on the tackle. And LJ Martin at 220 pounds, I mean, you need to wrap him up both arms and get him to the ground. Just flying in there with your head down is not going to be good enough.
Jordan Lester, no chance. 12 BYU first downs. TCU's run 10 plays from scrimmage. They have fewer plays than BYU has first downs. And finally able to slow down that ground game. That's Nawahine for a short gain on first down inside the TCU 30.
TCU coming into the game tonight, they're one of the best rush defenses in the entire Big 12 conference. But you look at what BYU's doing, they're knocking on the door for 100 yards on the ground, and we've only played 1 quarter of football. I tell you what, BYU, they are coming out with an edge and attitude, and they want to make right for what happened last week on the road against Texas Tech.
Waylon Lapuaho, one of the top offensive linemen for BYU, doing a good job in this game. He had to come off the field, looked to be a little dinged up. Bachmeier toward the end zone, incomplete. Good coverage that time, intended for his bro. Well, you got to give your brother a chance to make a touchdown catch.
Bear trying to get it to Tiger, but really good coverage on the outside by Vernon Glover, 26. Covering Tiger like a glove, nowhere to go with that football. And this is what TCU needs. Here's the opportunity. You have a 3rd and 8 situation. Can you knock BYU back? I wouldn't be surprised if BYU either goes with a screen quick game or keeps this football on the ground and treats this like 4-down territory the way they're running the football right now.
TCU just desperately needs a stop. Bachmeier throws on the run. Incomplete. And here comes a flag. There was contact early. Parker Kingston, the intended target. TCU doesn't like it, but Bud Clark, I think he did. Looked to me like he got there a little too soon.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the left hand coming in. Keep an eye on the left hand of Bud Clark. Kind of gets it over Parker Kingston late. It's a slight grab, but you have to remember where that flag is getting thrown in from.
1, defense. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
It's coming from the back judge. So the back judge, he just sees that left arm around Parker Kingston. From the front, you could say, hey, probably a good no call. But to a back judge, that looks like pass interference.
Yeah, you watch it a couple times from that angle, and that I can understand why Sonny Dykes is not happy about that one. But a big penalty, so another BYU first down inside the 15. They can get a first down around the 4. They're going to give a little jet sweep carry. Left side, turning the corner. Tiger Bachmeier. Penalty flag thrown back near the line of scrimmage. As it stands, it's a first down. This one.
Holding, number 71, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's on left tackle Isaiah Jada, the big fella, 6'6", 315. Keep an eye on the speed sweep as he gets out to the perimeter. He's just going to get his hands draped around the defender on the outside. It's the left hand, and he doesn't let go. You can kind of say, hey, that's a little ticky-tacky. From that angle, I don't think it really showed it. The defender was trying to get off. You see Kalani Sitake doesn't really like that call by the officials. In some ways, you got to wonder, is that a makeup call for what happened on 3rd down?
We hadn't had a single penalty the whole game until the last 2 plays. Maybe the officials were just feeling left out. First down and long. Bachmeier got tripped up. Looked like a designed run there. And he ends up losing yardage. Andrew Gentry, I think the guy who got him on the turf. I say that. I think he just tripped over his own guy, really. At least initially. I think the 2nd and 21 coming.
I think you're right, Flem. I think the turf monster there got Bear Bachmeier. We'll see what the young freshman does here. In this opportunity, when you see 2nd and 21, it's so easy to try to force a ball down the field. You have 2 downs to get the 21 yards. Be smart with the ball here in the red zone.
TCU, you saw their secondary trying to get organized. Bachmeier goes to a check down, and a nice decision there across the middle to Nawahine out of the backfield. His first target was covered, so they get 8 yards.
Well, that's a young quarterback growing in front of our eyes. You're going to see his eyes. They go left. He goes to number 1 in progression, number 2. No one's open. There's no panic in the freshman quarterback. Knows where his check down's going to be over the ball, and that's how you get positive yards in a 2nd and long situation.
Still not easy here. 3rd and 13 inside the 20. TCU's defense has a chance at least to force a field goal try.
Devin Deal is the go-to pass rusher for the Horned Frogs. It's time to make his impact felt.
He drops back in coverage, and Bachmeier, the hole opens, and he sprints through it into the end zone for a touchdown. 17 yards on 3rd and long.
Just a basic speed option. This is who Bear Bachmeier is working off of. If the defensive end, Wale, takes the quarterback, you pitch it. But you see how he widens with L.J. Martin. Nobody's there to account for the quarterback. It's just been too easy for this BYU offense tonight. Getting ready to go up 17-0 early on in this ball game.
And I don't want to pick on him, but that was the 2nd play on that drive where Jordan Lester, the safety, just totally whiffed trying to make a tackle. So a good decision by Bachmeier and a big play for BYU.
It really is. Bear Bachmeier completely in control tonight, doing it through the air and the ground for the Cougars.
Wow, what a performance by him.
It sounds like a Matt Berry helmet sticker coming up later tonight.
Ooh, a good candidate, although there are a lot of candidates. Touchback TCU's offense reeling here in Provo. Let's go down to Stormy.
Well, Dave, quarterback Josh Hoover told us yesterday he feels like it's his job as a quarterback to be that steadying presence through the ups and downs, to provide hope to his group when they need it. And he was doing that on the sideline between drives here. He went up to all of his receivers. He said, hey, it's a long game. Stay calm. Went up to his offensive line, told him 1 play at a time. We're right back in this thing.
Yeah, Stormy, and he also told us that they were going to come out tonight and throw the first punch. Obviously, that did not happen. In a lot of ways, this is a gotta-have-it drive for the Horned Frogs. I'm anxious to see what Hoover does here.
Now, this could get ugly. Hoover, a little shoulder fake, and now gets enveloped and sacked back at the 20. Tanu Vasa, a loss of 5 on the first play of the drive. 2nd sack for BYU.
Well, Tanavasa does a great job getting there, but it's because Hoover's trying to work the slant and go outside, but there's just excellent coverage out there. I do think on first down, it's one where you just got to let it go no matter what, because you know it's man coverage. Give your guy a shot, because you cannot take a sack.
Play fake. And Hoover again, he doesn't have anywhere to go with the ball. In scramble mode. Now he finally finds a guy, and a nice completion with the shove. Jeremy Payne is going to get a much-needed TCU first down.
Boy, did that feel desperately needed by TCU. Great job of Josh Hoover navigating the pocket. Didn't like his first or second read. Finds a way to get outside the pocket, extend the play. And that's exactly what TCU needed.
Just their 3rd first down of the game. Now Payne is going to get a carry straight ahead. Jeremy Payne, sophomore from Missouri City, Texas, with Kavorian Barnes, the starting running back, out for this week. They're going to give Payne a chance. He's got some big playability.
At some point on this drive, TCU needs to get the football to Eric McAllister. He's at the top of your screen right now. Big wide receiver, 6'3", super talented, has yet to touch the ball.
He turns it upfield here, and there goes McAllister. Got slowed down and finally tackled inside the 15. Sonny Dykes was listening to you.
I was going to say, Kendall Browse and I are on the same page. He's just too good to not get the football in his hands. He leads the Big 12 in receptions of 15 yards or more, and you can see what he can do. He's big and physical. He can make you miss. He's got great speed. TCU needs to find more ways to get the football to McAllister.
Big-time play. Evan Johnson's good DB. McAllister turned inside and just dusted him. 1st and goal, Horned Frogs from right around the 10. Hoover looking right, now looking back left. Hoover to the end zone, incomplete. Trying to hit Jordan Dwyer. It'll be second and goal.
Really good job by Jack Kelly, the linebacker outside. Certainly going to be an all-conference player. Hoover's trying to sell the slip screen, and Rogers is trying to work to the back of the end zone. But Jack Kelly isn't fooled for a second, keeps his eyes on his tight end. Nowhere to go with the football for Josh Hoover. He's forced to throw it away.
Dwyer was unhappy. He thought there was too much hand fighting there, but no penalty flag. So now it's second and goal. Handoff straight ahead, and a gain of maybe 3 for Jeremy Payne.
BYU, they are the best red zone defense in the Big 12. Even Texas Tech, as explosive as they are, last week they were forced into field goals numerous times down in the red zone. It's going to be really difficult for TCU. What the Horned Frogs need to do, they need to find their best man-to-man matchups. You have McAllister at the top of your screen. The tight end DJ Rogers is also heading that way. BYU plays a lot of man coverage down here. Need to take advantage of the matchups.
Third and goal. Play fake. Pump fake. Hoover scrambling. And he is going to be knocked out of bounds. Max Alford, the linebacker, did a good job there of not fighting for that play fake and staying with him.
Excellent job, and you have to give a ton of credit to the entire secondary for BYU. Nowhere to go with the football. Josh Hoover does the next best thing, tries to scramble, tries to create something, doesn't force anything, knowing he has a field goal in his back pocket.
I know Sonny Dykes, we had a quick shot of him. You know he did not want to kick a field goal down 17-0 with a kicking game that is very shaky. Nate McCasland missed one from about this distance last week. This one's 22 yards. He missed one from 24 just last week. This kick is up, and it is good. So no problem there. And TCU, maybe not exactly what they wanted, but definitely needed points, and they get them. BYU fans are creative, aren't they?
Dumb Bears.
ESPN College Football, presented by Downey Unstoppables, is brought to you by Peloton.
You know, TCU and BYU, they have a lot of shared history, and one of the craziest games, maybe the craziest in the history of the rivalry. TCU back in 2005, 51-50 here in Provo. I mean, they played it together in the WAC. They played together in the Mountain West. Now they're together in the Big 12. TCU's won 5 meetings in a row between these two programs. Just got on the board their first 3 points of the game. 17-3, 7 minutes, 3 seconds to go first half.
And you know Sonny Dykes didn't want to kick a field goal there on 4th down, but I think it's really important to get points, get on the board, especially because you received the opening kickoff in the second half for TCU.
All right, let's go down. There was some stuff going on during that timeout, Brock. Let's go down to Stormy and see if we can hear about it.
Yeah, Dave, right after I told you guys what a calming presence Josh Hoover had been on the sideline, after that having to sit for the field goal, there were some tensions rising between Josh Hoover and his star wide receiver, Eric McAllister. I didn't hear what McAllister said to Hoover, but Hoover had some choice words for him, was laying into him a moment ago.
You got to wonder, Stormy, and looking back on that 3rd down play, you got to think McAllister wanted the football. He was one-on-one and man-to-man running a fade. A lot of frustration starting to boil over from this season, I think.
Wow. Bachmeier across the middle, and the pass was juggled and dropped. JoJo Phillips, I think he had a chance to make that catch. He dropped a big one last week down at Lubbock.
He did, and normally the young wide receiver, he's pretty sure-handed. Big target, 6'5". You can see it just comes right off of his hands. He is coming off of an injury, just starting to get back into the lineup. But you mentioned it, had a critical drop a week ago, and there's another one tonight.
They've had 2 big, as good as their offense has been, they've had 2 big drops already in this first half. So 2nd down for the Cougars. Bachmeier in the pocket, got hit as he throws, and still fired a bullet right to Kingston for another BYU first down. Bachmeier a little slow to get up after a low hit, gain of 20.
That's just a great job of Bachmeier hanging tough, under pressure in the pocket, keeps his eyes down the field. Parker Kingston runs an excellent sail route to the sideline. You see the shot to Bachmeier's knee by Devin Deal. Good job hanging tough in the pocket by the true freshman quarterback.
And again, that was Lapuao's spot, but Mocassini, Sonny Mocassini's the guy who's playing left guard. He sort of got knocked backwards by Devin Deal on that play. First down, BYU, throwing it again and again out. This time the right side, Chase Roberts. And BYU gets another first down, gain of 12. Let's go back one play and see that hit again.
Yeah, if you're a BYU fan, you got to hope he's okay. You can tell that's a really hard hit from a big-time defensive player. Devin Deal, 6'4", 250 pounds. Keep an eye on that lower body of Bachmeier as we move through this drive.
Well, drama with both quarterbacks. That hit, and not to go back to what we showed a moment ago, but BYU's offense, we're sort of moving on, but that was intense. Josh Hoover on the sideline with his star wideout. Bachmeier across the middle to the tight end. More broken tackles. There goes Carson Ryan. Dives for the pylon. Touchdown. 43 yards. I'm sure they're going to try to confirm and make sure he got there. What an effort from Carson Ryan.
Great individual effort. Well, that looks like a touchdown to me. And there's nothing flashy about the play. It's just a basic under route. But Carson Ryan, who started his career at UCLA, you see that football sure looks like it got inside the pylon. Started at UCLA, transferred to Utah, now with his third school.
The field of a touchdown is under further review.
Just a very talented tight end. I kind of call him the Swiss Army knife. He can do it all. You can see what he can do with the ball in his hand. Excellent blocker, a true 3-down tight end.
Let's hope this review doesn't take too long. I think that one's pretty clear. Well said. Carson Ryan, well traveled, been around a long time. Just a big time play. Foot not out of bounds. Reached inside the pylon, broke the plane.
I mean, touchdown. Let's play football.
I think so. It's always possible they have a look that might be a little different than the ones we have, but that right there makes it look pretty clear to me.
I'm with you, Flav.
After review, the ruling on the field is upheld. It is a touchdown.
75 yards in a minute and 15 seconds. They've been sort of bullying TCU with the ground game. That time it was just air it out. What a performance by the BYU offense in this first half.
It's so impressive. A week ago, they just struggled to get first downs, to get the football into plus territory. Tonight, after this extra point, 24 points midway through the second quarter. I mean, if you want to wash the taste out of your mouth from last week, the first loss of the season, this is how you do it.
No kidding. What a response by BYU. I guess Bear Bachmeier's feeling okay after that hit. What a drive for the true freshman of the BYU offense. Their veteran tight end, Carson Ryan, makes it 24-3. Well, you know, last year BYU started 9-0, lost 2 games, lost their chance to play for a conference title. Really a sort of bittersweet ending to a great year. 8-0 this year, lose last week in Lubbock. All to talk this week. Is it happening again? Is BYU going to ruin a great year again? So far, I would say no. A better response here in 2025. Touchback 24-3. Meanwhile, drama on the TCU side. Let's go down again to Stormy.
Yeah, Dave, we saw Josh Hoover earlier really get into it with his star wide receiver, Eric McAllister, but it seemed like a few minutes ago they tried to squash it on the sideline. Hoover did go up to McAllister and say, I want to get you the ball. Know that. Stay with me. McAllister seemed to be receptive of it. Brock, I don't know if you've had an instant like that where you get heated, but your teammates, you figure it out and move on.
Too many to count, Stormy, and it's usually for a good reason. Those are just 2 competitors that want to make plays for their team. McAllister wants the ball, and Josh is saying, I will come your way when I can.
Handoff, left side run for Jeremy Payne. Under 6 minutes to go in this first half. So we'll see if TCU can move on.
And listen, I think right now is a fantastic time to find Eric McAllister. You saw what he did on his only reception of the night, made 1 miss, 47 yards later. You got to find the big wideout right now.
Hoover back to pass. Now being pressured. Hoover's going to scramble. Penalty flag thrown. He gets some positive yardage, but I think the TCU offensive line committed a holding penalty.
Holding, number 56, offense, 10-yard penalty, second down.
It's on left tackle Ben Taylor Whitfield, and I don't necessarily agree with this call. It's just a three-man rush by BYU initially, and you're going to see when Hoover goes to move outside the pocket, there's a slight tug, but you get that every single play inside the trenches. I don't necessarily agree with that call.
That's big penalty. It backs up TCU. It's 2nd and 17. And all the students who are here, they were here hours early. They were watching BYU basketball. The Big Ten matchup. They put them up on the big screens.
Really important for Hoover to not panic here. You have 2 downs to get a first down.
Play clock is winding down. Hoover's going to step up, throw on the move. Nice delivery. And there's McAllister for a first down. TCU. It's all patched up. Everything's forgiven.
Everything is good again between McAllister and Hoover. But I want you to watch Josh and how he keeps his eyes down the field, dodges the defender, throws a great ball to his go-to guy, Eric McAllister, and now the Horned Frogs are rolling.
Slings it out, this time to Dwyer, left side for a catch and a fairly short gain out to the 45, gain of 4.
Now listen, don't count out TCU just yet. This is an offense with Josh Hoover at the quarterback position. They can light up a scoreboard in a hurry. If they're able to get a touchdown here, remember, the Horned Frogs get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. They can get themselves back into this football game.
Well, you and I were there, weren't we? Fort Worth, his first career start against BYU a couple years ago. What did he go for? 440 and 4 touchdowns, something like that. Big run straight up the middle for Jeremy Payne, and another Horned Frogs first down.
This is a really good job on the counterplay by TCU. They've really struggled to get the run game going in the first half tonight, but an excellent job by the front 5 to open up a huge hole for Jeremy Payne, and now the Horned Frogs are in plus territory.
First rushing first down of the night for TCU. Into BYU territory, biggest run of the game by far.
The 2 linebackers, Glasker and Kelly, unfolded on the line of scrimmage.
Hoover going over the top toward McAllister, and almost a one-handed catch, incomplete. Marion Alexander, who's hurt and out of the game for a while, back in. He had the coverage, and Hoover hurting a little bit.
It's a really good matchup between Alexander III and McAllister, 2 really talented players. You see the grab, though, there by Alexander III. And then Josh Hoover got up a little slow. You see the shot to his hand, and he's been battling a hand injury the last couple weeks. That's something to keep an eye on.
For sure. He throws a nice ball to McAllister. Good catch inside the 25. TCU first down again.
Nothing's going to keep Josh Hoover out. Just an ultimate competitor, a gunslinger from the pocket. Great job finding the soft spot in the zone. Fires a missile to Eric McAllister, who can haul it in.
It's the nature of this sport, right? He said to us, I'm finally feeling healthier with that hand, that thumb. Took a big shot 2 plays ago, but a nice ball there. Down to the BYU 22, 1st and 10. Final 3 minutes of this first half. And a handoff, Payne again. I think Sonny Dykes is looking at that clock thinking, we need a touchdown here, down 24-3. It also would be nice, we get the ball to start the second half if we can kind of kill as much clock here as we can.
And that's what Sonny's saying right now. Hey, slow it down. We got the 2-minute timeout. We don't want to score and give BYU an opportunity to go get points. The middle 8 right now, the last 4 minutes of the second quarter and the first 4 minutes of the third, if TCU wins that scenario, they're right back in the ball game.
They can take this all the way down to the 2-minute timeout if they want.
I think that's what Sonny Dykes was saying. Hey, slow it down. Let's get it to the 2-minute timeout and regroup.
This is the 2-minute timeout.
All right, so that's exactly what the Horned Frogs do. Down 24-3, but on the move. Their quarterbacks sort of come to life here. Well, it's late in the season, and everybody around this sport is thinking playoff and angles and who can get in and who can't. BYU definitely feels like they can. They've dominated most of this first half, but TCU on the move here. Down 24-3 in a spot, Brock, where with that big of a deficit, the way BYU's offense is operating, you almost figure TCU, I doubt they want to kick any field goals. Hoover, meanwhile, out of the 2-minute timeout, goes wide right. Battle, they snap it straight to him, and a straight ahead run. BYU seem ready for that gain of just a yard or two.
And this is a package TCU really likes to use in the red zone with Trent Battle. He's a running back, but a former high school quarterback, so he can throw the football. He can do a lot of things for you. Looks like BYU's going to take a timeout here in hopes that they can get the football back with time to go get more points before half.
So a 3rd and 1 coming. Teams will regroup on both sides. Gives us a chance to just send out a reminder. We're talking about playoff and all the argument and debate. Tuesday night on ESPN and the all-new ESPN app. We'll have the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese and the gang are going to be there to break it all down. And look, there's a lot to talk about with what happened today. Oklahoma's huge win. Cincinnati loses. Utah looking good. BYU looking great. Texas Tech with Alabama's loss. Are the Red Raiders in position to maybe get one of those top 4 slots and get a bye if they could run the table?
You just hit all the highlights right where my brain goes when I think of Tuesday. I can't wait to see where all of those teams, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, even a BYU and a Utah, where do they fall now that there's been a couple of losses in front of them?
And it's a time of year where those debates become a lot more real. We're getting much closer now.
I firmly believe that this is 4-down territory right now for TCU, so expect them to go for it on 4th down if they don't get it. Because of that, don't be surprised if they take a shot at the end zone here with BYU playing man coverage.
You got Payne in the backfield. They're going to fake it to Payne. Hoover, a fake pass, takes a hit and dives forward, and I don't think he got there. Cabea put the hit on, kind of spun Hoover around, and I think he's maybe a half-yard short.
I think you're right, Fleming. That was an excellent play by Cabea. You're going to see number 2 right there come back for the tackle. Great job recognizing quarterback running with the football. And TCU, no hesitation. They're right up at the line of scrimmage, but Kalani Sitake is going to take another timeout.
So another timeout, which it's interesting. You use a timeout because you want to preserve the clock. It might also give the officials, if they had any inkling, a chance to take a look at the spot and see if they got it right.
It does, but I think that's the right decision by Kalani. If you're able to stop TCU here, you're going to give Bear Bachmeier plenty of time to go get points before halftime.
All right, so you watch him spin around. I don't know.
Really hard to see so many bodies on that angle. And I don't want to build up a play too much here in the second quarter, but in a lot of ways, this 4th and 1 might be the ball game. If TCU's not able to come away with points on this drive and BYU's able to take the football before half and go score, this game's slowly getting out of reach for TCU. So this is a huge 4th and 1. They need to convert it. They have to have points on this drive. And then remember, they get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. So a really big opportunity for the Horned Frogs.
I think Sonny Dykes is unhappy about that spot. And it was interesting to watch while you were talking there, Sitake come out with his own eyes and lean in and get a real good look at how much they need to get to convert here on 4th and call it a half a yard.
And for TCU, this is such a hard spot because they don't have their number 1 running back, Barnes, who's 220 pounds. In moments like this, you're just going to hand it to Barnes, let him go downhill. TCU's going to need to get creative to pick up this 4th and 1 against a very stout front 7 for BYU.
You're going right into Keanu Tanavasa and the big guys up front. Hoover under center, quick to the line. Pitch play left side, and 1st down and more. It's a touchdown. John Denman, who's not had many carries at all this year, took the pitch instead of a sneak, and TCU gets its first touchdown of the night from 13 yards out.
What an answer by TCU. We said it at the beginning of that drive. That is a got-to-have-it drive for the Horned Frogs. They desperately needed points before half. Such an opportunity to get 7 and then get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. Excellent execution by Josh Hoover and his offense.
And I think you saw that coming. They weren't going to settle for a field goal. Down 24-3, and they didn't have to. Extra point is up and good. So now it's just a 2-touchdown lead with 1:14 to go in the first half.
I love that Kendall Briles got this football out to the perimeter. You're going to see 2 excellent blocks here on the edge, and then this football just goes outside to the true freshman speedster, John Denman. We mentioned it. BYU, stout front 7, physical, big, really tough to run the football inside. That was a great decision by Kendall Briles to get the football out to the perimeter, because you saw it. The Cougars were selling out to stop quarterback run, quarterback sneak something inside, which is why there was a gaping hole to the outside. Credit Chase Curtis for the excellent block, 81.
You know, a couple weeks ago, you and I were in Lexington, Kentucky. Texas was able to hold on a situation like that a couple plays in a row, and you were saying, man, the guys are too big. You got to come up with something creative. TCU just found something creative for that situation. That was a beautiful play.
It really was a beautiful play. And I think all too often coaches just get kind of, you know, they just want the attitude play. They want the quarterback sneaking, and they say to the offensive line, hey, go pick me up a half a yard. But sometimes you have to face reality, and when you're facing a defense that's really stout and strong and physical inside, work those edges like you just saw TCU do.
I love the attitude play. I just love touchdowns even more. How about our protection spotlight presented by Prudential?
Well, what's the best thing for protection? It's a good run game. I want you to see these excellent blocks on the perimeter. You see L.J. Martin, you see Carson Ryan deliver excellent blocks for Parker Kingston on the speed sweep, springs him for a touchdown, and then it's the speed option. Working on the defensive end, Oyewale. Bear Bachmeier does a great job selling the fake pitch to L.J. Martin, gets the defensive end to widen. There's no defenders to stop the quarterback. How do you have great protection? Run the football well.
Handoff Kingston, little jet sweep style play, and shoved out of bounds for no gain, maybe even a loss of a yard. That'll stop the clock. But this feels like as important to TCU as the 4th and 1 was.
It really does. Now it's time to play complementary football if you're TCU. You got to get a stop here. You can't let more points get on the board. Now remember, BYU, they had to burn their timeouts. That's why they do have 1:09 to work with. So Bear Bachmeier, he needs to find some completions and play with good rhythm on this drive.
Cougars have scored on every drive of the game. Kind of a long, dangerous pass, but he got it there to Chase Roberts, short of a first down. Inbounds, clock moves. It'll be 3rd down and about 2.
You see BYU, they're playing with a steady pace, but they don't want to go too fast and give TCU the football back.
Horned Frogs have all their timeouts. Handoff straight ahead, and I think just enough. Wow. That was close, but give L.J. Martin credit for lowering that shoulder. And that's a big first down for BYU.
And now if you're BYU, put your foot on the gas and go get into field goal range for Will Farron. Anything around the 40-yard line, he'll have a chance.
There you go. Right across midfield. Kingston with the catch and slide. Clock stops while they set the chains. Gain of 16. They're only maybe 10 yards or so away from long field goal range.
This is perfect execution by the BYU offense. Plenty of time. You just can't take a sack here if you're Bear.
That clock starts again. Bachmeier rolling left across the middle, incomplete. He had Roberts, but backpedaling couldn't quite get it there. Clock stops with 26 seconds to go.
It was great effort by the TCU defensive front to get Bachmeier uncomfortable, get him off his spot. We'll see what Aaron Roderick has here to get his team into field goal range. We just said it. If you can get to roughly the 40-yard line, Will Farron has a big-time leg. He will have a chance. So if you can just find any completion here, 7-8 yards, you have plenty of time to spike the football. You can work the entire field.
26 seconds on the clock. TCU showing some pressure. They bring pressure, but it's picked up. Bachmeier over the middle, and he skips that one in there. Intended for his brother, Tiger Bachmeier. So now it's 3rd and 10, 21 seconds.
That was a really good pickup by the offensive line for BYU to give Bachmeier an opportunity to push that football down the field, but just great coverage by the Horned Frogs. And now at 3rd and 10 with 21 seconds. Once again, you have plenty of time. So even if you throw this ball short of the line to gain, but you're in field goal range, you can hustle your field goal unit out there for a field goal try.
Special teams has to be ready to go. Now TCU is going to call their first timeout of the half.
30 seconds in.
I mean, you know, teams rep this and practice like the emergency run on the field and kick a field goal. They do. They go over it.
They do. And 21 seconds is about as little of time as you can have in order to throw a quick slant hustle your offense off the field, get Will Farron and the field goal unit out there. And this is something that you rep every single week in practice. BYU, they've been through this 1,000 times. For TCU, the big question is, do you bring pressure here to try to force a sack, a negative play, to keep BYU out of field goal range, or do you just kind of play the sticks, keep things in front of you so that you don't give up a potential big play?
Yeah, the downside of bringing pressure is you could be exposed.
Double-edged sword.
You think about, we showed that graphic, the career long for Will Farron. You get anywhere around that 40-yard line and you're in that career long range. 3rd and 10 for BYU, just across midfield.
You have Carson Ryan, the tight end, to the bottom of your screen, 3 wide receivers to your top.
Kingston in the backfield. Bachmeier looking, throwing, and he's got his man Roberts. First down, and he'll go out of bounds at the 35-yard line with now 14 seconds on the clock.
How about that execution by Bachmeier, Chase Roberts, and the rest of this offense? Just textbook, clinic, 2-minute drive type situation. And now if you're BYU, you can still try to get even closer with field goal range, but you don't have any timeouts, so you have to work the sideline. This ball cannot be completed inside.
You got to be really careful here. They throw it across the middle. Caught, first down, out of bounds inside the 20. JoJo Phillips with 9 seconds on the clock. I mean, do you take a shot for the end zone now?
Just textbook. You do have time for one shot to the end zone if you want it. If you're going to throw it to the end zone, though, you have to throw it on time. 1, 2, 3, hitch, ball is out. You cannot hesitate for a half a second. Otherwise, you risk those 9 seconds rolling off the clock.
What a drive. I mean, this is a true freshman, as you've pointed out.
So impressive.
8 plays. Looking for the end zone. Got to get rid of it at some point. Throws incomplete. And with 3 seconds, okay, survived that.
Heads up play by Bachmeier. Nowhere to go with the football. He understood his internal clock. He was able to ditch the football, save 3 seconds for a field goal opportunity. And just a backbreaker for TCU. If you think about it, the Horned Frogs finally get some momentum in this game. They score a touchdown. They think they're going to get a stop, get the football back to their offense, start of the 3rd quarter. Bear Bachmeier had different ideas.
35-yard try, and what likely will be the final play of the first half. But first, a timeout TCU. BYU.
30 seconds in late.
We'll continue that thought. First, just a quick reminder here. As soon as this half is over, we've got our Lexus halftime report coming up. Big time statement from Georgia at home against Texas. Oklahoma, what a win there. Their offense didn't do a whole lot. Their defense was awesome. And Ohio State, yeah, remains on top. Pretty dominant for the Buckeyes.
I tell you what, if the Sooners can find their way into the college football playoff, they have the championship formula. We as fans of football, we all love watching good offense, but what wins a championship? Defense. And right now, the Sooners, they're playing defense as good as anybody in the country.
TCU's defense has been solid this year, especially lately. They've given up 344 yards in the first half.
Unreal.
Woo. 345. I mean, TCU's put up 192 themselves. All right, out of the timeout, 35-yard try. Farron, the kicker. On a low snap, good hold. Kick is good. What a drive by BYU after the TCU touchdown. Horned Frogs will get the ball to start the second half, but 3 points on the board for the Cougars.
The execution in the 2-minute drill for BYU was just textbook, but give Kalani Sitake a lot of credit because he burned some timeouts when TCU had the football to give his offense this opportunity.
Stormy down with Kalani Sitake down on the field.
Well, Coach, a great 2-minute drill by your quarterback, who you told us had a different look in his eye and intensity this week. What impressed you most about him?
He's doing a great job taking care of the football, you know, and that was a great drive. He's starting to come into his own, and we just got to let him do it, you know. So 30 more minutes, we just got to keep playing. Defense gave up that touchdown. I'm not happy about it, but this is a really good team, so we got to keep battling.
You've talked a lot about how important physicality is. Your fronts have been great on both sides of the ball. How important will that be in the next half?
Yeah, I like the physical part on both sides, but I didn't like the 4th down on that one. But you know, we got to make up for it now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, if you're a coach, you got to find something to be unhappy about, right?
I tell you what, this is a football team on a mission tonight.
All right, our halftime report after this short break.
You're watching Peloton Statement Saturday.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Downey Unstoppables. It's the Big 12 Conference on ESPN. Under the lights in Provo, Utah. BYU, just a dominant offensive performance in the first half. They lead a good TCU team. I mean, the Horned Frogs came in here just a field goal underdogs at halftime as we get ready to start the third quarter. 27-10. Josh Hoover and TCU, their offense getting ready to come on the field to start the second half. They will get the ball to start the half. Their offense definitely perked up in the final minutes of the first half. BYU fans, as always, some fan bases sort of grumble if you play a late night game under the lights. It can be cold this time of year. They love the night games here in Provo.
Not here at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. You're right. They love this nighttime atmosphere. The football team, great winning record under the lights. One of the great atmospheres in college football.
And a touchback, so TCU's offense will make its way back on the field. Dave Fleming, Brock Osweiler, great to have you back with us. BYU had the ball 5 times in the first half. They scored on all 5 of their drives, never punted. Kind of means TCU, you can't have a lot of empty possessions, I wouldn't think.
Very rarely do I say it's a gotta-have-it drive in the third quarter, but I really think that's exactly what this is for Josh Hoover and his offense, because his Horned Frog defense, they have yet to stop this BYU offense. BYU's offense had the football 5 times in the first half, came away with 5 scores. We got to see if Josh Hoover can keep up with the points here and put together another scoring drive.
So on the first play of the second half, a handoff, and I think they have to be pretty pleased that Jeremy Payne's done some good running in this game so far. Let's go down to Stormy on the sideline.
Well, I spoke to TCU head coach Sonny Dykes, who said offensively execution and maximizing possessions is going to be most important for them in the second half. And defensively, he told us getting off blocks, we need to slow the quarterback run game. But actually said the biggest point of emphasis in the room was changing their cleats. He said he felt like his guys were slipping all over the place. Everyone changed their shoes.
Huh. Well, that's a little news item. New cleats for TCU, and the offensive line may be enjoying the new cleats. Nice push, first down.
That's really interesting. But you know what? Sometimes later in the year, after the field starts to loosen up over the course of a season, you need to put on those extra long spikes for that footing. We'll see if that helps out the TCU offense and defense. They had some missed tackles in the first half.
Well, first down, back-to-back running plays. Now Hoover's going to throw, maybe, or he's going to scramble. Got through somehow and got a couple yards instead of being sacked.
He was trying to hit Eric McAllister up top, just nowhere to go with the football. Really good coverage outside by Evan Johnson.
Offense took a while for Sonny Dykes' team to get going. They did get it going late in the first half.
They did, and early on, it was just they weren't able to move the chains on third down, the money down. Credit BYU's defense for that. They were very suffocating, but there at the end of the second quarter, Josh Hoover got into rhythm. We'll see if he's able to maintain that momentum here at the start of the third quarter.
2nd and 8, and a handoff on 2nd and 8. Trying to go left side, even with the new cleats. Another slip there for Payne. That brings up third down.
TCU really struggled to run the football early on, but they're starting to find their footing in their counter schemes. You saw a couple pullers there on that last play on 2nd down. They're running the football right now with some efficiency, but this is what it's all about. It's third down. Can you keep the drive alive? And that was really the story in the first half for BYU. Jack Kelly, one of the best in the Big 12 at getting to the quarterback. We'll see if they bring pressure here on third down.
Saw that number pop up. TCU has not converted a third down yet. Now they have, and that's McAllister, who breaks another tackle into BYU territory inside the 40. Get Eric McAllister the ball.
Just a beautiful route by Eric McAllister working on Evan Johnson. You see he gets the corner running. He sells the go route. Then he puts his foot on the brakes, comes back to the football. Great job picking up a first down.
He's over 100 yards now receiving on the night. Again, Hoover off and running, trying to get to that sideline, and does. Makes something out of nothing, 4-yard gain.
And that's something that the coaching staff, talking with Sonny Dykes and Kendall Briles, his offensive coordinator last night, they said they wanted more of. They don't want Josh Hoover on 1st and 2nd down to force the football if nothing's open downfield. That's exactly what you saw. Nobody was open, gets outside, uses his legs, picks up positive yards.
The formula for TCU typically, don't turn it over, we win. They haven't turned it over tonight. They're down 17.
It really is that simple. When they play a clean game, the Horned Frogs can beat anybody in this conference.
2nd and 6. They substituted, so the officials and Sonny Dykes has to burn a timeout. So that late substitution with the play clock winding down, you don't want that when you're down 17 in the 2nd half. But a timeout with 2nd and 6 coming up right after this. Hey, it's the Taco Bell Libmont Student Section. Only one student section can claim the title of Libmont Student Section of the Year. Who will take home the trophy this year? Very few more enthusiastic than this fan base. Oh, no. No. No.
Yes.
No. Says continuing education on the jersey he was wearing. We need some more continuing education.
I need to know everything about that situation.
Yeah, that one's going to keep me up later tonight. Hoover, little slant play out of the timeout, and man-jack, 1st down and more inside the 20. The TCU offense has got it going now.
It's a really nice job with the tunnel screen. You get a little play action. It gets the linebackers to hesitate just for a second. Then you get the football out to man-jack on the screen. This TCU offense, they found something there late in the 2nd quarter. They're carrying it into this drive, and they're looking really good right now.
Down 17. Still a long way to go in this game. First possession of the 2nd half. Hoover, and he'll throw a little back shoulder incomplete. I was expecting maybe a penalty flag, but no early movement apparently. It's 2nd down, and McAllister kind of limping, coming back to the line of scrimmage.
That's something you don't want to see if you're a TCU fan. He's having a monster night. 4 receptions, 107 yards, big target on the perimeter, and he's in quite the battle right now with Evan Johnson.
He had that game earlier this year against SMU. 254 yards and 3 touchdowns, one game.
Massive game. Unbelievable.
They're going to hand it off on 2nd down, and not much room there for Nate Palmer, who's been in for a few snaps here, just a gain of 3. 3rd down coming up. At this point, I know it's early 3rd quarter. I don't know if a field goal is doing TCU a whole lot.
It's early, but you're right. And so what can Kendall Briles and Sonny Dykes, what can they come up with here? If I'm Josh Hoover, I'm expecting pressure. So where is my quick throw? Where's my quick outlet? Get a completion, even if it doesn't go for a 1st down. Make it hard on your coach to potentially go for it on 4th.
Hoover. Looking middle. The pressure comes. He hits, and then it's dropped. Dwyer had it, and I don't know if he was looking upfield to see where the 1st down was or what. He just out and out dropped it.
Flat out drop. You're going to see Jack Kelly loop inside. This is the linebacker having an excellent year. One of the best pass rushing linebackers in all of America. Gets Hoover off his spot. And then Dwyer, just a flat out drop. Hoover did a great job staying alive, getting outside, and giving his wide receiver a chance. And just a miscue you can't have if you're TCU.
And that was either going to be a 1st down or a 4th and very short, and probably going for it instead. 33-yard field goal try from McCashland. High snap, good hold, kick up and through. Now TCU, I mean, they'll take it first drive of the half, but they have to settle for 3. They're down 27-13. This makes me happy. One of the good guys in college football, one of the great guys in our ESPN family, Trevor Maddich. There's Trevor's wife, who is here on the field during halftime. A ceremony for the new Hall of Fame class at BYU, including our friend Trevor. Great ceremony last night here on campus, and celebrating some of the all-time BYU greats, including Trevor, who was here to take the plaque to say hi to everybody. Look at that guy, part of some of the all-time great BYU teams, NFL career. He's been a college football analyst with us since 2007, almost 2 decades. Congratulations to Trevor Maddich, BYU Hall of Famer.
So well deserved. One of the all-time great Cougars. for that national championship team. First-round pick. Well-deserved. Congratulations, Trevor.
Touchback. His Cougars offense is coming on the field. But first, Trevor sent us a message earlier today.
It made me feel humbled and honored to be associated with that group of people. And it made me reflect as to how it got to that point. I mean, the foundation was the national championship year. We had a lot of great athletes on that team. I hope that I helped BYU, but I can tell you that BYU changed me.
Well said. He took a red eye after the ceremony last night. He's been in the studio all day today from noon until
just talk about a grinder, right?
Dedication to the crowd.
Hard work.
He's got to be happy if he's keeping an eye on this game with the way his BYU offensive linemen are playing. They're doing Trevor proud because they have dominated up front.
Yes, they are, led by center Bruce Mitchell. This offensive line for BYU, I mean, really since the first snap, they have been in complete control. Just keep an eye on how they're pushing TCU back 3, 4, 5, 6 yards every single time they're running the football. TCU just has no answers right now.
27-13 with still 9:38 to go in the third quarter, but TCU has to find a way. They haven't stopped BYU yet. LJ Martin has been rumbling for big chunks of yards every time he touches it, averaging almost 6 yards a carry. He got 7 on that one.
And this is part of the problem. You see this too high safety shell. When you're playing a team like BYU, I get it. You don't want to leave your corners on islands. You don't want to play a single high safety defense. You want to give those guys some help, but you got to pick your poison. And right now, I really think you need to take away the run, bring the extra safety into the box, and force Bear Bachmeier to win this game with his arm.
Bachmeier takes a snap, little option style play, pitches it to Martin. Martin turns it upfield and gets a first down plus about 3 extra, another 6-yard run.
This run game is just so difficult to stop because you can see it. They're going to run inside the tackles. They're going to run some power and counter schemes, even some zone schemes. Then they're going to get speed option to the perimeter. Then they're going to do their speed sweeps with Parker Kingston. So they just hit you from all angles with this offense. And like I said before, TCU doesn't have an answer. They're on their heels, and they're just playing the guessing game right now defensively.
1st and 10, close to midfield. Bachmeier is going to step up. Now he's going to run. Bachmeier, wow. He puts a hit on as much as he takes a hit. Gets 6 with the QB scramble.
I was going to say, and that's a big defensive lineman at 305 pounds. Dinba, 92, comes up and makes the big hit on him. But he bounced off of Bachmeier. I mean, Bachmeier at 6'2", 230 pounds. I mean, he is as stout as a quarterback is in this country. He can deliver a blow as well.
I think he's a lot closer to 250, 255 than he is 230.
All I know is when we visited with him yesterday in person, he did not look like a true freshman to me.
No. Didn't really look like a quarterback to me.
No, well said.
He looks like he's going to go sack the quarterback. Now a Hine straight ahead run for a gain of 2 to set up 3rd down.
And what a critical 3rd down this is. BYU, they've yet to be stopped tonight. They've yet to have to punt the football. They've had 5 possession, 5 scores. Can TCU get the stop? If they can get a stop here, if they can knock BYU back to where it's not 4-down territory and force BYU into a punt, their offense with Josh Hoover, they have momentum right now. Somebody for this Horned Frogs defense needs to make a big play right now.
Play fake. Bachmeier in the pocket. He's going to go deep down the right sideline and incomplete. No flag thrown. Roberts fell down. And the BYU fans wanted a penalty flag. Channing Canada had the coverage.
I think that's a really good no call. I think Chase Roberts really just kind of lost his footing. You're also going to see Parker Kingston at the top of the screen. He pops open late. But yeah, you see there, Roberts, I think he just stumbles on his own. That was a good battle between him and Canada.
And why did they take that deep chance? Because they're willing to go for it on 4th down. So now if 3rd down was an opportunity for TCU,
I expect BYU to roll out here.
That's where Bachmeier goes, rolling out right and right on target for a first down completion, went back to Roberts. What a play by the young freshman quarterback.
Well, it's really good coverage by TCU, but Chase Roberts at 6'4", 210 pounds, he can shield a defensive back, and that's exactly what he does here. It's an excellent throw. Great point by you at Bachmeier. Strike point accuracy right on the wide receiver's face mask where Chase Roberts wants it. And what do you know? Another pickup for BYU on third down. TCU just can't find a way to get off the field.
And that sucks the enthusiasm out of your defense when you just can't get a stop. Bachmeier takes a hit, finds his tight end, Carson Ryan, who already has a touchdown catch and run. First down, BYU inside the 15, 18 more yards.
Carson Ryan does such a good job. Keep an eye right here. He's really going to sell the block in the run game. He gets the defense to commit. They lose eyes on him, and that's why he's able to wheel up and be so wide open.
He was kind of laughing when he got up. I think he wanted that pass just a little more on it so he could keep his balance and get the touchdown. Bachmeier did well to get it off in the first place. I don't think Carson saw the hit on his young quarterback. Well, that number is just astonishing. The number of plays and the number of first downs. They'll lose yardage on that play. And they have, this is their first possession of the second half. BYU has 25 first downs already.
So impressive. I mean, polar opposite of how this offense played a week ago. I get it. Texas Tech, probably the best defense in the Big 12 this year. But TCU came into the ballgame. We mentioned this. They've been playing good defense throughout the year. But tonight, they just have no answers for this BYU offense. I think you need to give a lot of credit to Aaron Roderick, the rest of the offensive staff for putting together a great game plan. But these players are answering the call right now.
Because they are playing a defense at maybe not Texas Tech level, but it's been good. Bachmeier retreating, buying more time, working around that official, still on his feet, and finally throws it away.
Just a young quarterback that gets it. He understands when the play is over. So many young quarterbacks are constantly trying to make a big-time play. Might have had a chance early for Parker Kingston. I think that's pretty good coverage down the field by safety Jamel Johnson. That's one where usually a safety will undercut if the quarterback makes the throw.
What did Kalani Sitake tell Stormy going into the locker room before the half? He said, you know what? Maybe it's time for us to let this guy go. He's learned. He's gotten better. Maybe we need just, that's what they're doing tonight. They're letting him play.
And he's handling it with flying colors. Really impressive night for Bear.
That one to Martin down on the left flat. Cuts it upfield, but stopped well short. So TCU finally gets that stop they needed. It's fourth down, and the field goal team will come out.
And I think that's a really good point that you just made, Flem. This BYU coaching staff, they did such a great job kind of bringing Bear Bachmeier along slowly. And Kalani Sitake's words were, you know, we spoon-fed him little by little. Hey, you take this much of the offense and you get a little bit more, but you really feel like now at this point in the year, the full playbook is available to him, and he's handling it super well.
Field goal on the way, and another one through for Will Farron. So that's 6 possessions for BYU tonight, 6 scores. They lead 30-13. BYU with a 30-13 lead over TCU. Time for us to honor those who served. Brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Bear Bachmeier, their super talented young quarterback, comes from a family truly dedicated to serving this country through the military. His great-grandfather, his grandfather, his father is the infant in that photo on the right with his grandfather, James Jr. James was very tragically killed in the line of duty like a couple weeks after that photo was taken. So the Bachmeiers not only know what it means to serve this country, they know what it means to make the ultimate sacrifice in service of this country. And for more on that dedication, let's go down to Stormy.
Well, Bear did tell us his dad would always remind him that he and his siblings come from great stock, but said how appreciative he is, of course, for all of their role in protecting our freedom, and how that family background has led to a pretty disciplined household for him growing up there. By the book, working out, eating clean, said even something as simple as after practice trying to stop for fast food on the way home, that was a no. Mom was working hard to cook something healthy for you. Which, speaking of which, guys, you tell me, it sounded like dinner for Bear meant speed eating with 2 older brothers. quarters.
Yeah, he said I had to go real fast. If I wanted any chance at seconds, I had to go real fast.
Or because he didn't want his brothers to steal food off of his plate. talk about a competitive family.
Yeah, it sort of manifests itself with all the success they've had on all these various fields, and maybe the best athlete of them all is the guy we're looking at there, Bear Bachmeier. 273 yards passing, 51 rushing yards. Think about all the great quarterbacks BYU's had in its history, as many as probably any program in the history of college football. TCU will hand it off straight ahead on second down, and it'll be 3rd down and 5 coming up. He had more rushing and passing total yards, Bear did, in the first half tonight than any freshman quarterback in any one half in BYU history.
I'll tell you what, he's making a statement. You know he did not like how the offense performed, how he personally performed a week ago against Texas Tech, and he wanted to fix that. He wanted to get that taste out of his mouth, and he certainly made a statement tonight here against TCU.
Meanwhile, after the 6-minute drive for BYU, TCU has it back, and now they face a 3rd and 5. And the clock is winding down. The play clock's winding down. They're going to have to burn another timeout. They've got one timeout left. They're down 17 in the second half.
Just not organized. You can see Josh Hoover a little frustrated, palms up to the sideline. Sonny Dykes sharing the same emotion.
It's kind of that kind of night for TCU. Well, for 20 years, Allstate has celebrated every field goal and extra point made at participating universities by donating to the university's athletic scholarship fund, supporting all student athletes. Thank you, Allstate. Now, we had a game earlier today in college football, in College Station, in fact, where a team was down 30-3 and came back and won that game. TCU, I mean, the game's not over, but this 30-13 feels a little different even than that did.
It does, and if they are going to mount any sort of comeback, it's going to have to happen right now. I have to wonder if TCU took that timeout because Eric McAllister was not on the field on that last, right before they were getting ready to snap that football. So you take the timeout. Eric McAllister is now back out there. He's going to the top of your screen. Jordan Dwyer's going opposite to the bottom. One of these two big-time playmaking wide receivers needs to step up right now.
Battle in the backfield. Play fake to him. Hoover in the pocket. Hoover trying to find somewhere to go with the ball. Across the body throw, and it's intercepted. Satuala picked it off. Trying to hit McAllister. Instead, the first turnover of the game.
And that might have just broke the back for TCU. What a play by Satuala. Only a 3-man rush by BYU. Nowhere to go with the ball early. Trying to get the football to Eric McAllister. You can see it's just out of the reach of the big wide receiver. But Satuala is there to make the big-time play for this Cougars defense. The fans are loving it here in Provo.
He's made a lot of big plays already this year. Just a sophomore. Falatau Satuala. Hey, you can't really blame. Josh Hoover's had too many turnovers this year. It's hard to blame him. You're down 30-13. You're trying to make something happen.
Yeah, and he gave his wide receiver a chance to make a play. It was just an excellent play on the other side by Satuala.
13th BYU interception on the year. Last year they led the country in interceptions. They have a knack for making plays in the secondary and catching the ball when they have a chance to.
I don't know what Jay Hill is doing in practice, what drills they're running, but you're exactly right. This is a ball hawk secondary for BYU. You just mentioned it, led the country a season ago. They lead the Big 12 in interceptions this year. They just know how to come up with the football. They have a nose for that ball.
Bachmeier's straight ahead run on second down. Maybe it's not a coincidence their defensive coordinator, you've mentioned his name, Jay Hill, is really, really good coach. Not a coincidence, perhaps, that their defensive coordinator is a defensive backs coach. That's his position.
He is, and one of the best in the country. I firmly believe it. You see Jay Hill in the white hat there on the left.
Trying to hide.
Yeah, he's done such a great job since coming over. He was a head coach at Weber State, did some historic things there. All-time leader in wins, but boy, has he put together a defensive unit here this year in Provo.
3rd and 4. BYU being very deliberate with the clock. Bachmeier's going to throw, And that one is caught out of bounds, but 2 penalty flags thrown. Intended for Roberts. McIver was the guy over there in coverage. Roberts got a smile on his face. I assume this is against TCU.
Pass interference, defense. The penalty is declined. The result of the play is a completed pass for a first down.
Okay, so I said caught out of bounds, but apparently Roberts got the feet down, and so they'll take the catch.
Tell you what, Chase Roberts just has unbelievable awareness. Well,
to me, it was pretty clear.
Yeah, no, I get it. McIver shoves him out, but I don't think Chase Roberts had time to reestablish himself inside the field of play. That's
I mean, it only matters for the box score. Well, I guess it could matter a little bit with field position. So they're going to review, and they'll, I think, quickly find out that was not a completed pass. They'll take the penalty.
And then I was going to say accept the penalty. That's right, Flum.
So it wipes out a catch for Chase Roberts. Too bad. They love Chase Roberts in this BYU program.
Tell you what, he's been one of the most consistent players year in and year out. 5th-year senior, but you know, you look back to last year, even the year before that, he's just a pillar of consistency. He's so reliable. He obviously has great chemistry with the true freshman quarterback. And you also have to give him a lot of credit for the leadership that he's displayed. You know, he's a guy that could have left for the National Football League a season ago, decided to come back, wanted to compete for a Big 12 title. There was some things that happened over the course of the summer. He lost his veteran quarterback, didn't know what was going to happen with the passing game. He stayed patient, and that certainly paid off.
It would have been easy for Chase and a few others to say, now, wait a minute. We thought we had our experienced guy coming back. Now I got a true freshman who's going to throw it to me.
Yep.
And the numbers were modest earlier in the year. Never complained. And now he's putting up big numbers again with a true freshman who's blossomed.
Great speed, great size. Somebody who's certainly going to play on Sundays. And I think just beyond the talent on the field, what you get with Chase Roberts, you get a great locker room guy. It's his leadership, the things he does throughout the community here, and just so well respected by this BYU Cougar football program.
After review, the receiver was out of bounds when he touched the pass. By rule, this is an incomplete pass. We will enforce the pass interference against number 20 of TCU. It's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Okay, so ultimately they did get it right. I thought I was losing my mind when they said that was a completed pass, because to me it looked obvious that he was out of bounds, but they get it right. First down, BYU.
And down 17 for TCU. I mean, it's now or never. I know we've been saying that since the start of the second half, but it's just true. If you are going to have any chance of winning this football game, you have to find a way to force BYU into a field goal, better yet some sort of turnover. But you haven't really shown any answers for this BYU offense.
A little confusion about where to actually spot the ball. Making sure they got that right. Still making sure. Still making sure. Okay. They're going to pitch it. Kingston coming around the corner, and he got popped. No gain.
The TCU dials up a pressure there, and you can tell that secondary playing downhill.
Now, big Marcus Deal kind of limping his way toward the sideline. So they stop the clock momentarily to let him. Well, now he's not coming out of the game. No, now he is.
Player number 95 was injured.
Am I going to the field? We're coming to the sideline. What are we doing?
Playing with his brother on that TCU defensive line. A defensive line that just, I mean, they got some talented guys up front. They played well. Just haven't been able to make many plays at all tonight. Play fake. Bachmeier across the middle. Zings it in there. First down and more. Inside the 10. Gain of 16 to the tight end again. Carson Ryan, who's having a big game.
Carson Ryan just keeps showing up. I love what they're doing with him. Clear out with Chase Roberts, and then you just hit him on a little in cut here. Not a lot of tight ends in the country are you going to split out wide like this. But like I said before, Carson Ryan, the Swiss Army knife, there's nothing he can't do, having himself an excellent night tonight against the Horned Frogs.
He's got a season-high 76 receiving yards, 77. He's 1 yard away from a career high. Martin straight ahead on 1st and goal. Inside the 3, leaning down toward the 2.
Such a physical offensive line. You can hear the pads popping all the way up here in the broadcast booth. This is an offensive line. This is what they relish. When they get down into the low red zone, they want to punch it in behind the big front 5, led by Bruce Mitchell at center. Got some big fellas up front. An offensive line that plays with great continuity. We'll see if they can punch it in here.
Yeah, they're going to let the final seconds tick off the clock, go to the 4th quarter. A game where they have bullied and pushed around and dominated and sort of taken the life out of the TCU defense and trying to take another step towards a bounce back win as we go to the 4th quarter. BYU playing so well tonight. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Downey Unstoppables. They're also putting on a pretty good show for their fans. They put some effort into that. Peloton statement Saturday. I think a statement for BYU, and the folks are still here despite the 30-13 score late night in Provo, Utah. Dave Fleming, Brock Osweiler, Stormy Buonantony. The first play of the 4th quarter. It's 2nd and goal, BYU.
And TCU, I don't know how they're going to do it, but they have to find a way to keep BYU out of the end zone.
Well, there's a start. They were ready for that. Quick to the line, quick snap. Martin with the carry. So now 3rd and goal coming up. I mean, it does really feel like strange things can happen, but it really feels like any chance for TCU, they got to stop them.
And I say, you know, I don't know how they're going to do it because they've yet to stop the run tonight. The offensive front for BYU, they've just been so dominant up front. And I assume for Kalani Sitake, this is probably 4-down territory because he understands if he can get a touchdown here, it's probably the nail in the coffin for the Horned Frogs.
Under center, Bachmeier. Man in motion. They give it to Martin coming right side, and he gets tripped up. He stopped about a half a yard short. He leaned ahead, and BYU thought he got in, but he was down at the half-yard line, and here we go. I'm sure they're going for it.
Absolutely. Really good effort by Obi Izor, the linebacker for TCU, to keep Martin out of the end zone. And you see Aaron Roderick calling the play right now to Bear Bachmeier. You have to think the mentality of this program, they want to be physical and they want to win the line of scrimmage. So do you just punch it in behind this big physical offensive line, or do you go a little reverse psychology play action and get Bear outside the pocket?
Your quarterback's 250 pounds. That's one thing. 4th down. They will hand it off. Flag thrown. Touchdown. Well, there was a penalty flag on the play. Martin just strolled into the end zone.
It's going to be false start on BYU, left side of the line.
Offside.
Oh.
Defense lined up in the neutral zone.
Wow.
The penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
Wow. So you thought you spotted the extra tight end, the extra offensive lineman, Trevin Osler, with an early move. Instead, offside and a touchdown for Martin to make it 36-13.
Well, Osler, I think, got away with one here. He's right here, 95, an offensive tackle, just working in as an extra tight end. Hard to see if anybody was offsides from that angle. Nevertheless, BYU punches in another touchdown, and I really think this football game is out of reach for TCU now.
Oh, that looked like a false start. That would have been the penalty against BYU. Instead, the touchdown, more power football.
Just no answers for this offense tonight by TCU. BYU running away with things. What we're saying. So as we start talking big picture Big 12, as SEC teams like Texas, if they lose, and if Texas loses to Texas A&M, there's going to be more opportunities for a potential 2nd or even 3rd Big 12 team to get into the playoff.
I mean, go back to last Tuesday, they revealed the current rankings that we're using right there. Oklahoma was the last team out of the playoff, the first team out of the playoff. And this week, that'll be different. They're going to be in the bracket this week, come Tuesday.
They're going to be in the bracket. Where does Texas go? Where does BYU fit in? Where does Utah fit in? It's going to be really exciting to see what comes out of that on Tuesday.
13 minutes to go here. And for BYU, you figure the path for them is 8-0 until last week. You lose, and you lose kind of ugly down in Lubbock. You win tonight, go to Cincinnati, you come back home for Central Florida. You win those 2 games, you go to the Big 12 championship, and you have your shot.
It's a clear path, absolutely. Not easy, but there is a clear way to get to the college football playoff for BYU.
3rd and 5 for Josh Hoover and the TCU offense. Pressure picked up. Hoover throws. Wow, into traffic, incomplete. Trying to hit Ozukanma coming across the formation. Hoover's frustrated. And another punt coming up for Sonny Dykes' team. Just that kind of night.
It really is. You know, TCU, they showed some life late in the second quarter. You got the feeling that they were going to get themselves back in the ball game. TCU scores that touchdown, but then with a little over a minute to go, BYU drives the field to get points before half. They stop TCU. I mean, it's been all things BYU tonight, and TCU has no answers.
TCU's been a really good 3rd down team this year. Really good. They're 1 of 8 on 3rd downs in this game. Low punt, returnable for Kingston, who returns it back across the 35-yard line. Beautiful night here in Provo, Utah, where their BYU Cougars are playing so well.
ESPN College Football is presented by Downey Unstoppables, the laundry scent boosters that keep your clothes feisty fresh.
They had Cosmo dressed up as like an 80s rock star for part of the night tonight. Is that the best mascot in college football?
I was going to say, I don't care what he dresses up as. He never disappoints. Absolutely. He's so fun to watch.
I know the Osweiler girls, they're probably not watching still at this point. Their vote for best mascot in the country is Cosmo.
Well, they better be sleeping in. And I would be lying if I didn't say, I mean, I think we watched a good hour of Cosmo on YouTube this week, just getting ready for the game. He is so talented, so fun to watch. You never know what he's going to do. Really special for the fans here at BYU.
Cougars offense back on the field. 12-16 to go, in full control of this game, and run the ball and milk the clock mode now. After forcing another TCU punt, LJ Martin still in the game. 2-yard run.
This is definitely milk the clock time, and if I'm Kalani Sitake, you know, I'm going to consider getting Bear Bachmeier and some of the other starters out of the game here at this point. You know, you're getting ready to go on a final couple week stretch where you're going to go contend for a Big 12 title. If everything goes well, I don't want to see anything happen here late in this game when it's well in control.
2nd down and 8. Play clock all the way down under 5. I think that's the idea every time they snap the ball.
Absolutely.
Another carry for Martin. He's approaching 100 yards on the ground. You got Bachmeier over 50. I mean, BYU, they haven't had the ball much in this second half, and they haven't needed to play with a whole lot of pace or urgency. They're close to 450 yards of offense tonight.
I was going to say there's pretty much nothing that this BYU offense was not able to do tonight. When they wanted to throw the ball, they could push the ball down the field. When they needed to convert 3rd downs, Bear Bachmeier came up big. And you can see what they're doing in the running game. It's been a clinic.
I'm struggling to think of a real play that the TCU defense has made. All right, there's one. They knock a ball down on 3rd down at the line of scrimmage. And we may actually have a punt for BYU. Marcus Dio got a hand on that one.
And when we talked to defensive coordinator Andy Avalos last night, he didn't shy away from it. He knew his defense was going to have a great challenge tonight. It was going to be very difficult to stop the run. He has a ton of respect for the perimeter players for BYU, but I don't think anybody saw it being this dominant for the Cougars offense.
It's the backup punter, Fuller Shirts, out there. First punt of the night for the Cougars. First drive they've had that hasn't ended in points. So Shirts, pretty good punt for his first one. Fair catch made inside the 20 by Jordan Dwyer. Well, tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN, you can catch NFL Countdown. Live reports from Lions, Eagles, Seahawks, Rams. There's some big games tomorrow in the NFL. Jeremy Schaap on the origin of Buffalo's table-smashing tradition. A whole lot more. And then you got Monday. I couldn't get to all of it. Sorry. Monday, Cowboys, Raiders on Monday Night Football. Man, you think that'll be a scene in Vegas with Cowboys fans there? I do. I do too. I do.
I think road fans really enjoy when they see their team is playing in Las Vegas.
That will be something. Maybe on paper, not like a super important game with two struggling teams. I'll be tuning in just to see what it looks like inside that stadium.
Have to.
Maybe Stormy's going to sneak over and get to Monday Night Football. What do you think?
Yeah, Vegas local. Never know.
Find Stormy down on the sideline and ask her if she's got any plans. Maybe she wants to stay home and listen to Peyton and Eli. Hoover pressured and he goes down. Evan Johnson, the cornerback blitz.
Well, Jay Hill is not taking his foot off the gas with the defense. Sends a corner blitz. You're going to see right here off the edge with Evan Johnson. And Josh Hoover, after the play action, he has no idea this pressure is coming for. Johnson is not accounted for in the pass protection. And BYU is not letting up with the game well in control midway through the fourth quarter.
Third sack for the Cougars, 3rd and 13. Pressure again. Hoover steps up and whistles one right through the hands of McAllister. Incomplete. It's 4th down, and TCU basically is conceding that they are not going to win this game tonight. We got a BYU player down behind the play. Max Alford, the linebacker. He's made a couple nice plays in this one. From up the hill in Park City. Went to Park City High School.
Right down the road.
The mean streets.
A beautiful area. Beautiful area.
We like to sneak up there when we come to Utah a lot, and it's fun to sneak up to Park City.
I was going to say, you get up there frequently. Last night we went up to the Sundance Mountain Resort for a great dinner just outside of Provo. The Foundry Room.
Switched it up. different resort experience. Another low punt. Kingston will field it and duck out of bounds. So BYU had to punt it for the first time, and they get it right back for their offense. The real Cosmo, he moves a little quicker than that one. All right, this is up to the minute. I mean, to the minute, and BYU's chances have gone up significantly to reach that Big 12 championship game in a few weeks in Arlington, Texas. Texas Tech, Red Raiders fans, you could start booking those hotel rooms in the DFW. BYU, though, that 70% number is pretty high. You understand why. Bachmeier on the quarterback keeper. They have to go on the road next week to Cincinnati. They do own the tiebreaker head-to-head with a win against Utah, one of those 2-loss teams.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, things are looking really good for BYU to get to Arlington and get that rematch that so many people want to see against Texas Tech, but they still have work to do. Cincinnati, yes, they went down today to a surging Arizona team, but that's not going to be an easy game traveling to Cincinnati, and then you come home against a UCF team you should be able to handle at home. But you're not there yet. But things are looking very, very good for BYU.
It was funny. We talked to Kalani Sitake about it because some of his players immediately in the aftermath of last week, when they lost in sort of demoralizing fashion down in Lubbock, a bunch of his players right away were saying, we can't wait to get him again. It's going to be different if we get him again. And the head coach kind of liked the sentiment, but he was also, I think, a little bit nervous about too much looking ahead.
Yeah, and you could kind of sense it in his body language, like, hey, guys, I appreciate it, but let's take care of a really good TCU team. We got a good Cincinnati team. Let's just take it 1 week at a time. And Kalani said it to us, but so did some of the players, just that loss to Texas Tech might have been a blessing in disguise. They were able to recalibrate, and sometimes that's the best thing for a team. And you see BYU probably putting together their most complete game tonight.
It's funny. They took their first loss last week. They're 8-1. but I agree with you. I think this is their best overall game. First down for the Cougars. Let's go down to Stormy.
Well, and Dave, speaking to players being vocal after the loss to Texas Tech, Chase Roberts was one of those guys, and I asked him, why were you so emphatic about it in the moment? And he said, yeah, there was a lot of energy and emotion, obviously, after the game, but just knowing what they're capable of and that they didn't play to their capabilities was particularly frustrating. He said, I know we can execute and beat them again and take the fight to them. So a lot of confidence for him, even still in the aftermath, that if they got that rematch, that they could do something with it.
Yeah, good stuff, Stormy. First down, BYU, handoff for a short game. By the way, we got rudely interrupted by a BYU sack. I was going to ask Stormy whether she's going to Monday Night Football this week in Vegas. What's the answer, Stormy?
Dave, you know me too well that I am a homebody.
Yeah.
But maybe it's an occupational thing. I like listening to the broadcast. I like listening to both calls. I flip back and forth between the Buck and Troy and the Eli Manning, Peyton Manning. Like, I go back and forth.
She'll have the slippers on.
I'll have maybe we can get some creamery ice cream shipped over to Vegas too on the way. Like, that'll be a beautiful Monday night.
They brought some up to the booth for us at halftime.
Good call. Pack it up in a cooler and get it on the airplane.
Dry ice is a miracle. Kingston on a little end around, and he'll get some positive yardage.
Tell you what, though, Dave, going back to that conversation, if BYU gets that opportunity with the rematch with Texas Tech, I mean, I understand why these players want another crack at it, why they're confident about it. If you go back and you really watch that game, the defense did some really good things. Yes, they gave up some third down conversions, a couple explosive gains, but they played well enough for their team to win the game. It was miscues with special teams and offense that you don't normally get out of a BYU team. So if they can clean that up, I think they're going to have a lot more confidence the second time around, and it should be a much better game.
Chance to make it certainly much more competitive. Little play fake, and then Ryan with the catch. Short gain, just a couple yards. Might be enough to get him a new career high in receiving yardage tonight. The most likely, we're talking Big 12 specifically, let's broaden out for a minute. Most likely matchups for Power 4 Conference Championship game, almost certainly going to be Indiana, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia. That one's not as certain as it felt a few hours ago, and who the heck knows in the ACC.
It's a coin flip.
Yeah, ACC has been wild.
I'll tell you what, the championship Saturday, clear the schedule. If those are the matchups, I mean, regardless of the matchups, it's going to be amazing.
A drop snap by the young punter. So Fuller Shirts in there for the first time really tonight. Had one punt, and now he drops the snap. That's a special teams miscue. Oh, I said he dropped the snap. What did he do?
I mean, he dropped the snap, kind of tossed it forward. I don't know if I've ever seen a punter do that. And you mentioned it, backup punter Shirts, not really used to being in there, talking with the long snapper Grimes, saying, hey, what happened?
You have to swing your leg. You know, you drop the ball. The second part of that is you got to actually kick it. That was bizarre. Probably not going to make a big difference in the final outcome. Short gain. Hoover's still out there for TCU. Final 5 minutes.
BYU starting to get some reserves on the field. There's still a few starters out there. Very smart by Kalani Sitake. This game is clearly done. Coming down to 4 minutes. Got to keep guys healthy as you move forward with Cincinnati next week.
Slant, McAllister, tip ball, interception, BYU, and going back the other way, the cut inside, now back to the outside, the shove, pylon, touchdown! To this BYU team, a face full of grass, and he'll take it. 44-yard return for a touchdown.
Talk about putting an exclamation point on a fantastic night for this BYU team. Tanner Wall, the former wide receiver converted safety, just been making plays on defense ever since he went to that side of the ball a couple of years ago. And you can see the love he gets from his teammates as he goes to the sideline.
They love that dude. He does so much for this community in Provo and beyond. He earned that one. True leader.
On and off the field, just an unbelievable young man. You see the smiles, the celebration. Couldn't happen to a better guy.
Third interception this year. First career touchdown, though, for Tanner Wall.
Well, let's go back to how this happened. Tanner Wall plays with just such great instincts and savvy. Here he is at the safety position. This is just a little inside slant to McAllister. The football is behind him. That's why it gets tipped up in the air. And Tanner Wall reads the quarterback's eyes, has a great feel, like I said. And he's there to make a play, capitalizes on it, gets some help from teammates, but really turns that into a punt return. And that is just a great individual play for a great player.
That looks like a guy who spent a lot of time on offense after he got the ball in his hands. I think right there, he thought, I can take this all the way.
100%. Very comfortable with the football in his hand. And like I said, could not happen to a better young man. Excellent football player, leader in the community, does so much for others. Just a selfless human being and reaping the benefits of it tonight.
Tanner Wall, big smile on his face. Grass stuck in his face mask. Second interception for Hoover. You know, the story's going to hold. 2 more turnovers for TCU when they turn the ball over. They don't win. That really, I don't think, was as big a part of this one as the other losses this season for the Horned Frogs. Leave that grass in, right, Stormy?
Yes, why not? But I wanted to follow up, Brock. You used the word unbelievable to describe Tanner Wall. That's not an exaggeration. He's a stud on the field, an academic All-American. He's fluent in 3 languages, and he talked about him devoting his time to community service. He volunteers regularly at the local hospital, elementary schools. He helped run a youth football camp in Israel this past summer, and even in season is continuing to work with a program called BYU Pathway, where he helps students in developing countries with education, internship, and remote work opportunities. It's crazy, all of the things he does.
It does. It makes your head spin when he describes all the things he's involved with, even while the season's going on. He was telling us, Brock, about how he connects with these folks all around the world with the Pathways program, where they're trying to teach life skills and job-seeking skills and how to conduct an interview, all kinds of things to unlock education, job opportunities. And then they'll get his cell phone number, and they'll WhatsApp him and ask him for extra advice, like on the side.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I asked him yesterday. I said, I'm assuming you dive into all these things in the community in the off season, and he kind of said, no, you know, I do it during the season, not as much. But to that point, he could get a text on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it's somebody from a third world country asking for help building their resume, and he responds and he answers and he helps them. So just like I said, just a pillar of excellence, just a truly special and rare young man in today's college football.
And now he's got a touchdown. Handoff, and close to a first down for John Denman, who had a touchdown earlier. That is a first down, 8 yards for TCU. Final 3 minutes here tonight in Provo. Season high points allowed for the Horned Frogs. BYU just dominant tonight. (44-13). Another run for Denman. 10 more yards on the ground. No more Tanner Wall. Most of the starters, maybe even all the starters, are out for BYU. A lot of the starters still in there for Sonny Dykes, who, I mean, his team's going to fall to 6-4, 3-4 in conference play.
Really disappointing year for TCU. You know, when you talk to Sonny Dykes this summer at Big 12 Media Days, he really gave the sense that this team was ready to compete for a Big 12 title. They had a couple tough losses this year. Arizona State on the road. And tonight, there's another one.
It's been that kind of night for TCU and for BYU. Tanner Wall's helmet, don't ever change that. A moment to remember forever for one of BYU's best. Our player spotlight brought to you by Royal Caribbean. Lots of heroes for BYU tonight, but man, was the freshman quarterback Bear Bachmeier impressive.
He was sensational. What a bounce back game. A week ago, things didn't go great on the road against a great Texas Tech team, but tonight, 296 yards through the air. Another 59 on the ground. There was nothing that Bear Bachmeier could not do against this TCU defense. So impressive.
7 games this year with a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown in the same game. Tied for the most of any quarterback in the FBS. We got all kinds of plays on words and puns. We got dub airs in the stands. They're only going to get more creative. This guy's going to be here a while. Going deep and penalty flags thrown. About 6 of them. Intended for Jordan Dwyer.
Pass interference, number 31, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I think the thing that impresses me most about Bear Bachmeier, it's the poise he plays with. The moment has never seemed too big for the kid. He's never been rattled. And you have to remember, you know, he thought he was going to have time to sit and learn behind a veteran quarterback. Then he was thrust into the starting lineup week 1, and he's just been excellent since the get-go.
A program changer, guy like that.
Really is. Really is. Can't wait to see how he develops these next couple years and where he takes this thing.
Hoover scrambling, and he'll duck out of bounds with 1:23 on the clock.
I'm going to hide behind you.
So second down coming up. TCU, they have another road game next week at Houston. A Houston team that's had a good year, solid year. They have, and then home against Cincinnati to finish. So not easy to finish out the year for the Horned Frogs. They have 6 wins. They're going to have a bowl opportunity, but you were saying it a moment ago, just aspirations were much higher than that coming into the year.
Much higher and really disappointing. Like I was saying in that, you know, you're up 17 on the road against a good Arizona State team. You let them back into it in the second half. And then a week ago against Iowa State, you're up 11 midway through the 4th quarter, and that game slips away from you. So just a lot of disappointment this season.
How about that? On 3rd and 1, your starting quarterback in a game where the score is 44-13. You have him try to sneak for it, and he gets drilled and driven backwards and doesn't get it. I don't know about that. They're sort of making a point, and then there's maybe doing what this is. All right, by the way, timeout on the field. NWSL playoffs continuing tomorrow afternoon. The defending champs are in action. Orlando Pride taking on Gotham FC. Second semifinal match up of the weekend. Coverage begins at 3 Eastern on ABC, ESPN Deportes, and the all-new ESPN app. Cosmo will be watching. All right, 4th down. They're going to finish the night. TCU. They're not going to have another. Thought pretty safe in thinking I can say this now. They won't have another 3rd down chance. TCU went 1 for 10 tonight on 3rd down.
Yeah, really struggled. And coming into the night, they were converting 3rd downs at 50% on the season. One of the best in the country.
Top 10 maybe.
So what do you need to spin that to? Jay Hill and his defensive plan. This BYU defense tonight. The front got after the TCU offensive line. There was moments where they were only rushing 3 and still getting to Josh Hoover. The secondary was excellent. Evan Johnson on the outside. Just a really, really fantastic night for this BYU defense all the way around.
4th and 1 for the Horned Frogs. And they'll use the Wildcat with Trent Battle getting ready to take a direct snap. They might have moved. They did. I'm struggling to find any positive for TCU from tonight.
It hasn't been pretty. And at some point, just take a
false start. Offense Multiple players moved, but the center did not snap the ball. It's a 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
I guess that's part of the point I'm trying to make. What are you trying to accomplish here?
I mean, taking the timeout, at some point, you just got to lick your wounds and head home. But I mean, give credit to this BYU crowd. I mean, it is late here. It is 11:34 local time, and these fans are loving what they're seeing and still into this ball game.
And more flags. More movement. This time I think everybody went.
Snap infraction, number 51, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
And the fans love that. And that's what you get when you're an offense that uses the clap as your silent cadence. The offensive line, they can't hear when a stadium gets loud. You saw the fans getting into it on that 4th down. Deary, the center, wasn't sure if Josh Hoover asked for the football or not. That's why you saw him move. He didn't let it go. These fans aren't letting up.
Pretty amazing. It's 44-13 with 42 seconds left.
Unbelievable fan base. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. So special.
Hoover is going to get sacked. Nusi Talmoy-Peau will essentially end this game with another sack for the BYU defense. What a frustrating night for TCU all the way around. Against the second and third stringers, they left their starters in there, and they still couldn't do it.
What a statement by Kalani Sitake and the rest of his team. You know, not a lot went right on special teams or offense a week ago on the road. Texas Tech, the whole country was watching. And a lot of people were really wondering, how would this BYU football team bounce back from that? Last year when they started 9-0, you know, they stubbed their toe twice in November, lost back-to-back games. That's not the case this year. Certainly learned from that. What a win tonight here at home.
Well said. All right, when we're done, in a matter of seconds, SportsCenter coming up after the game. Lots to talk about that Georgia win. Oklahoma's huge upset on the road at Alabama. The crazy Texas A&M comeback. Hold on, more SportsCenter coming up as we finish. Final seconds ticking off the clock here. Bear Bachmeier, Kalani Sitake, and this BYU team. The disappointment of last week is in the rear view mirror big time. And the Cougars, just an overall dominant performance. That has to be one of the most dominant wins. Sitake's been around for 10 years as the head coach of BYU. That has to be one of the best all-around performances one of his teams has ever had.
No question, and I think the thing that makes it even more special is who they did it against. This is a really good TCU football team. I don't think their record says, you know, truly who they are. So for Kalani Sitake and the rest of his team to rally the troops, circle the wagons, get this win, headed to Cincy, big momentum for BYU.
Huge win for the Cougars. BYU indeed for all of us, including Brock Osweiler, Stormy Bonatoni, our great crew, Dave Fleming, saying thanks for watching our presentation of college football primetime on ESPN.